If it hurts, yank the brakes, no gates, you know it up, put on more speed. Protect our kickers, our quarterback, our lead, our ball game. All obstacles, block, cut, sides, through the game, back to this win it. Press it again, we're here for the first minute. Can everybody keep it there for 6 minutes?
Rocky Top will always be mean. Woo! My God, Gene.
They're scared. You feel me? Like you can't double him or chip him or you feel me because you got me on the other side. And if you want to put a guard on me, you got Omar or Don Bailey on the 3 techs. Like you can't do nothing with that. You feel me? So offense see us, they see us all out there. They're scared. Everybody's worried. Like so, it feels good when we're all out there.
Doesn't have to be perfect. Ain't gonna be perfect. We go compete for 60 freaking minutes. All right, enjoy the opportunity, enjoy the environment, and then go play our butts off, play for one another, and have a hell of a lot of fun. Everybody got me?
Yes,
all right.
Man, we blessed to do this. We blessed to wake up. We blessed to be standing by each other. We cannot take these opportunities for granted. There's people that wish they'll be doing what we was doing. There's people that call us crazy for doing what we do. But they don't understand. Every time we touch this grass, it's a certain mentality you gotta have. And you can't just turn it on. We gotta wake up with it. We gotta train it. We ought to make each other better. I need you. I need you.
Make the decision. You're either a Vol or you're not, through thick and thin.
But you know what? Let's talk a little Vols. That is not me trying to take any shine away from the phenomenal channel Talking Vols that my guy Boogie Bentley runs. So shout out to them. But let's talk a little Vols here.
Good Friday morning. Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name's Boogie Bentley. He was Coach Jay. He bolted on me. He took off. He said, this is Black Friday. I'm going to sabotage Boogie. What is going on? Hope you guys are having a good Friday morning. Come on in, smash the thumbs up, share out the link, let people know we are live. We would greatly appreciate it. Coach Jay is back. Coach, did I offend you in the first 30 seconds of the show?
Yeah, I was like, I'm out of here. No, I don't know what the heck happened, but my screen during when you were playing the intro, it just turned like all white, and I couldn't escape out of it. I couldn't, get to the task manager. I couldn't do anything. So I don't know what the heck happened. I think my laptop ate too much Thanksgiving dinner or something.
What did you do on Thanksgiving? I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. What'd you do besides eat a lot of turkey?
Yeah,
Turkey's
I went over.
overrated, by the way.
It was really good yesterday. I usually do a ham too, but I was with my wife's sister's family and her whole family. My kids are in town for Christmas, and they're grown though. For those of you who don't know, it's not like they're little. So they'll be in town for Christmas. My dad's back east with my brother and visiting his older brother. Wanted to make sure he got to visit him. He's getting up there a little bit, so had to go take care of family. So I was with them. We did. I mean, it was a spread. There was like I think there was 18 people, so not too crazy. But I mean, man, I think someone made like 20 ribeyes, big thick
Oh,
ribeyes
now
on
you're
the
talking.
smoker. Cut them up. We had a turkey. We had stuffing. It's Southern California, so we know how we had some enchiladas too.
Yeah,
Just 'cause
dude, I need that Thanksgiving spread. Are you kidding me?
yeah, some enchiladas. There was Chinese food. There was egg rolls. There was cranberry sauce. I mean, there was everything you can name. I usually smoke a ham, but I was kind of saving that for um, Christmas when the kids are in town. So I'm gonna smoke a ham then. Maybe do a prime rib them also. But I made some really good mashed potatoes yesterday too.
That's what I did, man. There's nothing. What my fingers still hurt. Like I'm in there just peeling potatoes all
Oh yeah.
afternoon. That's all I did. And then it's got to be homemade mac and cheese. So you're making. It's like you gotta boil the potatoes and then throw those in the oven, let them sit, and then you go and you gotta clean the pot and you gotta add the noodles to that while you make the cheese sauce.
Mm.
I went up to Mrs. Boogie. It feels like late. It feels like late not talking balls on a Friday morning, but I went up to her and I said, I've been slaving away in that kitchen all day. Don't expect me to put out tonight. She was like, okay, don't worry. You don't have to. Anyway, going on to Dylan Elam with a $5 super chat, hitting the road for Nashville. So I'll be lurking playoff time. GBO. Shout out, Dylan. Appreciate the super chat. My friend Billy Todd for 2 says, door fee, slam the doors. Shout out, Billy. We appreciate you, brother. Blockhead has been a member for 26 months. We appreciate you, Blockhead. If you're not a member, what are you doing with your life? Hit that join button. We would appreciate that. Speaking of Thanksgiving, you and I were not the only ones to partake in Thanksgiving dinner yesterday. Big Dave Sanders had a nice plate full of food, and you notice any that's an interesting angle. That's an interesting camera shot. But I do notice some Tennessee slides on his feet. Guys, we sell a t-shirt here. You can go to bonfire.com/store/talking balls. It says, Coach Jay, you're muted. You can go pick one of those up. What do you think about those
Yeah.
slides?
Those are some nice looking slides right there. Yeah, you gotta love it. But look, we roasted Boogie on here a couple months ago before David committed because he was pubbing the whole he had a Ohio State sleeve on. So look, for those of you who have 17, 16-year-old, 18-year-old kids out there, probably just rolled out of bed, threw on whatever dang shoes he wanted, and went and ate some bird, right? But maybe not. Maybe David's playing chess and we're playing checkers, and he's trying to let us all know it's all right, guys. I'm thankful to be a Tennessee ball this Thanksgiving.
Regardless of what sandals he put on when he rolled out of bed, I'm starting to feel more and more confident about it. Of course, he took the visit to Ohio State last week. That puts us all into panic mode, as it should have at the time. Like AP immediately said, guys, this is a real thing. This is not just a free trip. This is not, to go peer recruit. The Ohio State is in play. Then you watch the week play out, and it was kind of a whole lot of wiffle waffle, a little back and forth, like Steve Wiltfong. Oh, one source. I love how Steve Wiltfong. One source tells me he is trending to Ohio State. That is Steve Wiltfong's way of saying, "Hey, I'm going to throw some buzz out here for Ohio State to get you guys talking and clicking on the links to see what's going on." And that's exactly what we were doing. We were clicking on links, but doesn't feel like it really picked up steam to me. Didn't feel like it's like there was the panic mode initially, and then the more things played out. AP on the Monday Night Chat said he's leaning Vols, 55% Vols. Doesn't mean Ohio State's not in it. Ohio State mods are saying, we lean Ohio State. And then it goes, well, is he going to return for the Michigan game? Austin Price now leaning towards no visit. It sounds like he is not going back to Ohio State. You got to think that's good for us.
Yeah. Whenever ever you can get a kid on campus, it's a huge win. These universities are big time programs, and when you can get them on campus, there's a lot of allure to what a school like Ohio State, a school like Tennessee, any big time blue blood program is going to have a lot to offer young man, and so whenever you can get him on campus, give him more time to fall in love with that allure that you got. It can be dangerous. So keeping him away from a big rivalry game like Michigan is huge. Um, I'm sure Ohio State didn't like that he was here for Alabama, even though he was committed, because it's a big game, big victory, that kind of thing. I wouldn't want him anywhere near that Michigan game.
You guys giving Steve Wiltfong a clown. I think Steve Wiltfong's pretty good at what he does. But look, his job is to create buzz and create interest and create conversations. So look, he was licking his chops when Big Dave took that visit. This is something that he can start talking about, hyping up, building anticipation as we get closer to signing day, which is next Wednesday. Me, Coach Rice, going to be right here going live on Wednesday night at 7. Coach Jay going to be coaching. Talk a little bit about that. We talked about it off air, but where are you going to be next Wednesday?
Teja, got a little the little guys, a little bit of an all-star game. So gonna have some fun. I love stuff like that. I think I've talked about it on the channel before. Some of the most fun I've ever had as a coach was the Pop Warner national championships. Beat a Hawaii team back in the day with a real special group of kids who all went on to, not all, but a lot of them went on to play D1 in some facet, or some kind of form of big time ball, or at the very least junior college ball. So just special bunch of guys, and always fun when you can take kids that have really succeeded and had a good time, take them, especially when you get to travel with them, and it's like this big thing that they've earned. There's nothing like that, because that's going to be like something they always remember. It's like, oh, dude, yeah, we got to travel to Vegas to go play the Hawaii team, or we got to travel to Florida, to play in this tournament, or Texas to play in that tournament. So always awesome when you get to do stuff like that, man. So.
And even the ones that don't make it right to that elite level, that's still a memory that they'll have forever.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Even it's, I got to play with such and such in this all-star game, or whoever.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
But because of that, because Coach Jay is going to be molding young minds. Oh my gosh, I don't know if their parents know what they're getting into. But me and Coach Rice will have you covered on Wednesday. That is the early signing day period. Right now, Tennessee sits ninth in the rankings. That's with Big Dave committed. And Coach Rice obviously panics. He panics in the middle of a game. He panics during recruiting. He is a bit of an emotional basket case, if you weren't aware. So when Dave took that trip to Ohio State, Coach Rice immediately starts messaging me saying, oh, this is awful. This is horrible. This class is going to finish between 15th and 20th. We got to get rid of Ellerby. Like, he was in panic mode. And then on the flip side of that, you've got that optimistic bunch. You've got the positivity of, we could back our way into a top 5 class if you look at who is remaining on the board. Isaiah Campbell's the first one that comes to mind. Mac Brown getting fired at North Carolina. I felt like we were in a good spot for Isaiah Campbell before that. But now with Mac Brown getting fired, he's going to be in this class. And guess what? He's going to be the second highest rated prospect in this. I don't think enough people, probably because we're in the middle of the season, during the offseason when all we talk is recruiting, there's way more buzz for a guy like Isaiah Campbell, but he will be huge in this class. I think with Mac Brown being out the door, Isaiah Campbell going to be a Vol, not going to make that decision until next Wednesday. What are your thoughts on Campbell as a player, and then just how we're trying to tie a bow on this class of 25?
Yeah, I like him a lot. He's got all the physical attributes you need. He's violent. He can maintain space, maintain gaps with violence. Talk about it all the time. You got to, when you're sitting in that cap on your run fills, certainly setting an edge, you need to maintain that space violently. You're going to have guards pulling through to hit you. You're going to have tackles pulling through, tight ends coming backside action, all that kind of thing. So you must be able to occupy, lanes violently. He can do that, and obviously a menace, when he pins his ears back as well. It's a huge pickup, and kind of sets the tone for what we've been doing, on that side of the ball. Certainly, fits the bill. He'll fit right in, and the elite players at the D line just seem to keep falling for Rodney Gardner, and you have to feel like as long as that man is in the position he is, we are going to have a menacing, violent defensive line who can always keep us in games. I said it on this channel this year already. I think the defense is going to get better next year. I realize we got some work to do at defensive tackle, in the offseason, but I truly do believe this defense is going to be even better next season.
I'm excited about Campbell being in the boat. Again, you can see I put the profile on the screen so guys could see just how elite he is. I mean, the industry rankings have him as a top 50 guy, 48th, but look across the board, right? On 3, 37th, 247, 33. Rivals has him at 83rd. That's what's bringing his industry ranking down. You put stock where you want. My stock is in On 3. I think 247 Sports is a little behind them. ESPN and Rivals, I don't even look at or pay attention to. Another guy Tennessee is working to flip. You guys said we sent Coach Jay in to talk David Sanders off the ledge. This is who we are sending Coach Jay to talk off the ledge because he's committed to USC. Jaden Pilati, again, an elite prospect, 4-star linebacker. He's a guy that, man, it seems like we've been talking forever that he is going to flip to Tennessee, but we keep waiting and keep waiting and keep waiting. Tennessee's got a shot. Do you think where do you think we're at in this thing? Is it NIL? Is it path to the field? I know you like Jaden Pilati as a player.
I do like him as a player. It could be path to the field, although I think he's got USC is not extremely strong at linebacker. So, the allure of early playing time with the Trojans is going to be, something that the Volunteers have to work through here. I definitely think our linebacker room is much more stout. So, we'll see if we can pull them through for there. But there has been already great slippage from this class out of USC with the record as it is. Obviously, we all know that they lost the big-time quarterback commit. The Vols recently poached a running back. You're welcome. He was on the yacht. I was like, come on, guy. Come on, guy. It's cold.
You like Boo Carter going out to Colorado. You're on the USC yacht, but you're wearing Tennessee gear saying, hey, or maybe a T-shirt under the USC pullover, and you like raise it up. I got it.
That's right. I just, hand them the old stack of bills just with the Tennessee money clip on it. That's all it takes. No, but now that you got someone in that class too, these kids talk to each other. Don't think that they don't, especially the skill positions. Hopefully Mr. Morris is working on Mr. Pilati here. Give me all the linebackers. I like where we are a lot at linebacker as far as the young kids coming up, Spillman, Burns, all those kind of guys, but we'll take as many as we can. You can never have too many good linebackers with as much orbit action. And when I say orbit, it's like switch, kind of like like a switch reverse, and you're moving all your tight ends. Think what Florida's doing. Watch a Texas game. Watch an Ole Miss game. There's so much pre-snap eye candy out there, and also during the play eye candy that has kind of morphed from Sark, from Lane Kiffin, but really from that Norm Chow offense that they came from. You see more and more of that, and the more eye candy you get, the more you need disciplined linebackers who understand how to read run steps and understand how to read fake run steps and where you need to be during them. It's just huge.
Not to bury the lead, I think that's also going to be huge tomorrow afternoon when Tennessee takes on Vanderbilt. We're going to get into the Vanderbilt game here in just a second. One last guy Tennessee is trying to flip, Miami commit Timothy Merritt. He's a 3-star safety out of Alabama, 6'1", 175, currently committed to Miami. According to what VolQuest put out just this morning, this sounds like Miami is willing to spend that NIL money. But then, we didn't even mention this with Jaden Pilati, but you're talking about a kid that's from the South. He's from Georgia going all the way out to California. Same thing here with Timothy Merritt. He's an Alabama kid. Does he want to go all the way down to Miami, or does he want to stay closer to home? What's more important, that or NIL money? But Tennessee also trying to flip the 3-star safety. And then we're on flip watch, right? I mean, there's a couple of guys committed in this class. Onis Conanbanny took a trip down to Florida. Sounds like Florida, Tennessee. Don't know if Tennessee holds on to him. I did read also VolQuest put out an update on Conanbanny saying there was some good dialogue between him and Tennessee this week. But it wouldn't be surprised to see him take another visit this upcoming weekend. Who knows? Onis Conanbanny is enjoying the ride. And then also Darian Smith, 3-star defensive lineman, is on flip watch as well. But I think he's the lowest rated prospect in this class. Take it for what it's worth.
Onis won Kenobi, man. Onus One Kenobi don't flip to the dark side, man.
I don't
He
know.
might
How
be
does that story end out?
he might be tempted by his former pupil or
Mm.
by Count Dooku. Onus One Kenobi, oh man, that's a light side of the Force user, man. He ain't going no dark side Florida bullcrap. Or actually, are we the dark side? I wear a Vader Tennessee
Yeah,
shirt.
I was going to say, wait
Now
a
that I'm
minute. Hold
thinking
on.
about, wait a minute.
Oh, no, this
Yeah,
just
come to the
backfired.
dark side. Oh no.
We
Oh no, what have
failed.
I done? What have I done?
Oh, Honest
Oh
One Kenobi.
man.
That's awful, man. You dub that nickname, and then he's going to end up a Gator. That's terrible.
Oh man.
We'll see. We'll keep an eye on it. Like I said, Tennessee could end up with a top 5 class. You gotta hold on to Big Dave Sanders. But if not, man, I'm encouraged by what we talked about Wednesday night. I put out a video Tuesday or Wednesday on it. The article saying that Tennessee going to spend big spenders in the transfer portal with NIL this upcoming offseason. So that excites me to see where this team goes in 2025. But we still got a lot to play for in 2024, Coach. Everything went our way last weekend. Everything went our way. Ohio State beating Indiana. Ole Miss loses. Alabama gets embarrassed. Texas A&M loses. And now here we sit. All you got to do is go beat Vanderbilt. Like, sign me up for that 10 times out of 10. Go beat up little brother, and we're off to the college football playoff.
It's exciting. It's not a give me, but it's really exciting the opportunity you have in front of you. And when you're coaching, you want those opportunities in front of you. It's a big game. There's no two ways about it. Not necessarily because of who we're playing, because of what it means. So we need to go out there, with an intent to destroy Vanderbilt, to decimate them. And it's time to tune up the engine too, right? Because listen, if you plan on making a run in this thing, you need to start. Thank you. It's getting some years on it, but I do like it as well. But it's time to start sharpening that knife for the playoffs as well. You need to be playing your best ball towards the end of the season. Still would like to see this team put 4 quarters of football together. Doesn't mean it's got to be perfect every minute of every one of those 4 quarters, but we need 4 cohesive quarters put together, and not by just one unit either, like the offense does at the first quarter, but the defense kind of slacks off, or vice versa, and then it flops the quarter after. I want both units working in synergy throughout 4 quarters of football. Let's put this thing together. Let's get a home game for these playoffs. Let's go blow that away, and then get ready to go get into a fist fight on neutral territory.
I mean, when you talk about putting it together for 60 minutes, like, other teams are going to make plays. That doesn't infuriate me. Another team making a play doesn't infuriate me. What infuriates me is when we have guys running wide open and we fail to execute. And that's why Josh Heupel keeps beating it in the ground, so we keep beating it into the ground. 11 guys doing ordinary things at a high level. That's what it takes. So don't shoot yourself in the foot. J.D. Pickell was talking about this. I listened to his prediction on this game right before we went live, and he was basically saying the same thing. He said you can't click in the playoff. You got to show me something now to give me any type of confidence that you're going to put this thing together. He also brought up something interesting. Dude, I went on, I wouldn't say a rampage, but on Locked On Vols, talking about Diego Pavia and looking at his numbers versus, Nico's. And, like, you would think that Diego Pavia is the next freaking Peyton Manning. Like, the way. And so J.D. Pickell said, if you added Hendon Hooker to this team, what are their odds to go win a national championship? And I'm like, man, it's more like, I get it. I am 100% on board that Nico has to be more consistent. He has to be better. But on the flip side, are you taking this team and saying they're a national championship contender just with the addition of Hendon Hooker? They'd be pretty dang good. But you're also saying, give me a senior Hendon Hooker versus a redshirt freshman Nico Iamaleava.
I think it would help, just like you said, for the reason you have a seniored out quarterback who understands the offense really well. And look, Hendon wasn't just a senior quarterback; he was a 5-year quarterback, if I'm not mistaken. Right? He had a redshirt freshman year.
Yes,
at
yeah,
Virginia Tech. So he's a kid who had 5 years of college ball. That's a lot of ball to watch. Coach his kid, understands the game well. Nico did too, but you look at freshman Hendon Hooker and freshman Nico, which I've done. Nico's got better numbers, but you still got to grow into that same quarterback. So if I put Hendon Hooker on this team, I think at the times where the O-line played like they did earlier in the year, it would have been a problem. I think that comment's very apt. It's up on the screen right now. It wasn't just Hendon Hooker. It was Darnell Wright. It was a couple other things that, Hyatt, Tillman. I mean, depending on which year we're talking about, were big time threats, that were really beating people in space, or just Tillman's case, just flat out manning people up when he was covered. I think Brew has the ability to do that. I don't think Brew's all the way back yet. I think he's starting to get all the way back. But listen, when you have an injury like that, even though you work your way 100% back, that doesn't mean like you snap your fingers and all of a sudden, you're the man again on the football field. Football's a grind. It takes work. It takes time playing it to get kind of back into that, fighting shape, if you will. And I think Bruce just kind of started around that corner. So that's good to see going in the playoffs. But I think you put Hendon on this offense this year. Yeah, I think it's better. I think it's a lot better. But do I think it's like they could win it without the defense being what it was? Probably not. Also,
Think about Cedric Tillman too, man. Like him and Brew are two different players. Like Brew is more of a get it to him quick, let him go make plays, or like Heupel just recently. I don't remember what it might have been after the UTEP game. They were talking about him getting into the end zone and excited. And he, Heupel talked about Brew as a team player, man. He will go out there and he plays without the ball in his hands, and that's who Brew McCoy is. But how many times could Hendon Hooker just throw up a 50-50 ball and Cedric Tillman just go get it? Like you said, just body dudes and go up and get it. And it's like, I thought we were going to get some of that from Chris Brazzell. What we saw in camp, what we saw during the orange and white game was he's a 50-50 ball guy. That's why when Gaston Moore came in, I'm like, man, I wonder if Nico sometimes is afraid to let a receiver go up and make a play, right? A guy's covered and I'm going to throw it up and let him go make a play. I like seeing that from Gaston Moore. Let your dudes go make plays. And that's what Cedric Tillman brought that was different than really what we've seen in this offense this year. But where'd it go? This right here. This is the question. Like, people want to compare Nico as a redshirt freshman to Hendon as a senior. That's just not reality. And yeah, some of that is because of the preseason hype. You can blame Coach Jay for that. You can blame me for that. You can blame everybody for that. Everybody. Of course, you're going to hype up the number one player in the country when he takes over the reins of this Tennessee offense that we saw how explosive it could be under Hendon Hooker. So I get that's what people are doing, but it's like we'll find out. We'll find out if he's going to be as good as Hendon was as a junior or a senior.
Well, let me put it this way to everybody. Nico, when the playoffs start, will be the only freshman quarterback in the playoffs. The buck stops at the quarterback position at the end of the day. I mean, the defense has been the catalyst of this team. But if Nico wasn't serviceable, we wouldn't be here either. You know what I mean? You have a quarterback that's going out there and making the bonehead typical freshman, one pick a game. I think 1.4. I looked it up the other day as the average freshman interceptions a game. Nico went out there and did that. We'd have a problem.
Nico's not throwing a pick the entire month of November, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. And don't get me wrong, he's thrown some not great interceptions, as everyone knows, which is expected of a freshman. But for the most part, he's taking care of the ball well. I pointed out the other day, I was really, really worried about that game at Oklahoma against a stingy Brett Venables defense who knows how to take the ball away, who knows how to confuse a young quarterback. Nico, he didn't have any picks in that game. That was huge to me. And if you look at it, look at what they did to Milroe. I mean, they ate his lunch, man. They had him every way backwards till Sunday. So I'll take that. I don't think he was as good as I wanted him to be this year. But once again, fan service is a thing, and I'm not immune to it. No one is immune to it. Do I think he'll be as good as junior Hendon Hooker? He's certainly on pace to be. I mean, his numbers were, if I'm not mistaken, better than Hendon Hooker's freshman numbers. So, I mean, I understand different system, but Virginia Tech at the time also had a system that was putting up, I think something like 38 points a game or something like that. So, yeah, I think he'll develop into that just fine. I think he'll continue to grow. He always has, as long as, I've had eyes on him watching him play.
I know Fuzzy is here pretty much anytime the light's on. Pretty much anytime we're live, Fuzzy's in the chat. Says Nico looked the part in the first part of the season as well. And for those of you that have been here throughout the entire course of the season and heard me and Coach Jay have conversations about Nico, I've said it a million times. Early in the year, he was making all the throws. He wasn't missing. And then we said at the NC State game, something changed. In that NC State game, something changed. That's when he threw the really bad pick into double or triple coverage. I don't remember at this point. And we started saying, what is it? And that's also, you had your two tackles were down and Nico was getting hit. Nico was getting pressured. And we started debating, is it confidence? Is it a lack of confidence? Something changed in that game. And I feel like from that point, we've slowly seen Nico start to get better, right? And I think, again, the month of November, he's not thrown a single interception. So whether it was confidence, whether it was a lack of protection, whatever happened at that point in the season, I think we are seeing Nico fight through that and get back to where he's got that confidence and he can pull the trigger. Still not 100%. He's still missing guys. But again, Hendon Hooker missed guys down the field. You're never going to hit every deep shot. That's just the reality of the situation. Let me hit a super chat real quick from David Hall for 5. Thank you, David. Says, I think Sanders stays. He seems like a stand-up man of his word. We need you, big man. Thank you, David, for the super chat. We appreciate it. You know, I get it. I read the comments and the chats and everything about David Sanders and good. We don't need him. Good riddance. Let him go. David's still a good kid from a good family. And I understand where you guys are coming from when you talk about being a man of your word. And once you're committed, you stay committed. You're talking about a kid that's about to make the biggest decision of his life to this point, maybe ever, because you're talking about your path to the NFL, the path for your future. You want to make sure you got everything right. You want to make sure that this is the right decision. So whether that means Coach Jay's camera came undone right as he's using you're addicted, Coach. You're addicted to that.
Yeah, I'm getting a cold or something, or my allergies have been bugging me. I almost told you before we went live, I was like, man, I'm going to have an allergy attack during the stream. I know it, and just start sneezing uncontrollably into the microphone. But sorry.
But anyway, David Sanders has got to make sure he's making the right decision. So many people are ready to write him off just for taking that visit. It's like he's not decommitted yet. He's not at Ohio State yet. So let it play out before we turn and start eating one of our own. All right, yeah. Let's move on. I wanted to talk about college football playoff just briefly because we talked about it Wednesday night. You've not been on the channel since that, since the rankings came out. Sean Cross is here. I've actually forgiven Sean since Tuesday. Called him every name in the book on Tuesday night. He drops a $5 super chat. He says, good morning. Good morning to you, Sean. Hope you and yours had a great Thanksgiving. Appreciate the super chat, my friend. But you weren't here after the college football playoff rankings came out, so we look at it. Tennessee ranked 8th. Do you see, is there any opportunity? You got Oregon playing Washington, Ohio State, Michigan, Texas, Texas A&M, Penn State, Maryland, Notre Dame, USC, Miami, Syracuse, Georgia Tech. Those are the games in front of Tennessee. Do you see any slip-ups here? Not to bury the lead for the gambling segment, but any chance that Tennessee moves up and has an opportunity to host a college football playoff game?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, just obviously the USC Notre Dame game, right, is a big chance. Do I think USC is better than Notre Dame this season? No, not at all. Do I think they can beat Notre Dame in a night game at the Coliseum? Yeah, I do. They do it all the time. They play really well against Notre Dame at home. So I think that is possible. USC switched their quarterback a couple weeks ago. Kids kind of started to warm up into it. A good-looking player. We'll see if Lincoln Riley can scheme something up, and we'll see if the Trojans defense can play well enough to, keep it in there. But yeah, I mean, look, they should have beat Penn State. They barely lost that game. Kind of took some really screwing the pooch, if you will, moves by USC to blow that game. But they're certainly capable of beating Notre Dame at home. It'd be really great if they did. I think that'd move us up. And then, of course, the championship games the week after. I said it the other night. I don't think that these same conference matchups are going to happen in the first round, how they're currently laid out. I think the committee's going to do their best to make it, not SEC versus SEC or Big 12 or whatever you have it. I think they're going to try to make it, SEC versus Big 10 or SEC versus Big 12 or, Big 10 versus at-large bid or whatever you may have.
Yeah, we've been talking about teams getting penalized for losing their conference championships. Georgia's got Georgia Tech. Like I've said all along, you shouldn't get penalized. But what if Georgia, let's say they beat Georgia Tech and then they lose in the SEC championship game? They've got 3 losses. Tennessee's got 2 losses. I don't think Tennessee should jump them in the college football playoff rankings. I just don't think you should be penalized for going and playing in your conference championship. But what happens if Georgia Tech sneaks up and beats Georgia and then they go lose the SEC championship? You got 4 losses. Are you still getting in? Like, I don't see how you can put a 4-loss team in, but at the same time, I'm, contradicting myself.
Yeah. I don't think you can if they did drop the Georgia Tech game, and I think they'd have all the ammo they needed. I think they'd put them that one. If they lost to Tech, let's say, I think that they would go into that spot that's the first one out. And then that way, when they play the SEC championship game, if they win, they can jump them up. If they lose, they can say, well, you shouldn't have lost to Georgia Tech. We're not punishing you. You're still first team out. So that's kind of how I think they would, approach something like that. We'll see. Georgia Tech, what would they upset Miami already? Yeah, they upset Miami. I want to say they upset Florida State the first week of the year, but I don't know if that's an upset anymore. That's more like what should have been expected of Georgia Tech at this point. But I'll tell you what, Florida State did Tennessee no favors by being as bad as they are, because pretty much every good player in the Florida State class has migrated over to the Gators. So that has not been fun to watch.
What we're going to do is we're going to jump over, watch Coach Heupel's midweek press conference going into the Vanderbilt game. We'll pause, provide commentary throughout. You guys know the deal. You want to change gears, change the topic, drop a super chat. We will talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. We got 312 people watching live on this Friday morning show. Make sure you do smash the thumbs up. That does help the channel, but I'm going to put out a challenge. If we get to 400 people watching live, we'll give away a free shirt tonight. Why not? It's Black Friday. I went to a bonfire and I was like, I wonder if you could do a Black Friday sale and like it has promotions. I'm like, oh man, we can actually do this. And I go in there and I start typing it all out. And it's basically like, you lose all of your profit. We're not taking any loss. I'm like, can you give me a little give and take here? Like,
yeah, thanks, business partner.
I'm like, what the heck is this? Peyton K drops a $10 super chat. Appreciate that. Peyton says, door fee. GBO. Thank you for that, Peyton. We appreciate that tip in the old tip jar. But hit that share button. If we get 400 people in here, we'll give away a Coach J, You're Muted shirt. That's what we're going to give away. A Coach J, You're Muted shirt. If you want to go buy one, you can go to bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. Kevin knocked it out of the park again every time. Every time he knocks it out of the park. You're Muted, Talkin VAWLS network logo there on the bottom. We got everything. Of course, we got to have those California tank tops so Coach J can show off the guns. But he's freezing now because it's a cool, cold 67 degrees out there in California. So he's got to rock the beanie because it's so cold out there.
You know what I also need is I need a button, Boogie, where I can mute other people and tell them that they're muted.
Oh,
like Coach Rice, you're muted, you idiot. What are you talking about? Nico's amazing. No, I'm just kidding, Coach Rice. I love you.
See, I can do that. See, watch. Boom. Now Coach J's muted. He can't talk. See, I have the power to do that. Coach J does.
Dauber, no, not one more thing, Dauber. Shut up. We're moving to the next topic. All right?
Listen. No, you listen, Dauber. You listen. We got the State Pride 2.0 camo shirt. You guys asked for it. We got that. That's a hot seller, man. You guys are all picking that up. God bless and go Vols. All the rivalry shirts are there. Show a little love, show a little support. And if you've got Talkin VAWLS merch, man, tag me on Twitter at Boogie Bentley. I want to see pictures of it. I want you to show up at Christmas Eve church service. Candle lights, everybody standing around singing Silent Night, all emotional. Man, that's my favorite church service of the year, Christmas Eve. That's what everything I just laid out is what we do on Christmas Eve. And oh man, it makes me think of my mom. I love it. But I want to see you guys wearing a Talkin VAWLS shirt to that service. Take a picture, tag me on Twitter at Boogie Bentley. I'm here for it. Bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. We appreciate you guys. The link, as always, is in the description below. We lost 6 people. 6 people left when I said we wanted to give away a free shirt. They're like, screw this.
I don't want Coach J's stupid shirt.
Yeah, we're out of here. I bet if it was a Dauber Listen shirt, I bet they would have shared it. Aaron Duck does at church in a Fuga shirt.
Yeah. Hype Out has the best freeze moments during conference.
Every time.
Whenever you freeze it on him, you're going to get a good face out of him. He's like, what stupid Coke always here. dang Coca-Cola and their stupid Christmas polar
I don't
bear.
know. Does he look mad? Like, look at this. Look at this. I mean, he looks
Looks
like
a
I'm
little
on a
mad.
diet and I can't have that.
Oh, maybe.
That's the vibe
Maybe.
I get here.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I'm getting that. I got you.
Interesting.
Or maybe some Buffalo Trace would be really delicious with this
Oh,
Coca-Cola.
dude, imagine hype with a Buffalo Trace sponsorship. Just 2 bottles of Buffalo Trace up there. That's when I'm going to get a press pass. That's
There
when
you
I'm going to
go.
be like, okay, how do I get this press pass? I'm going to drive down to Knoxville and after the press conference, just casually walk by, grab both bottles, head on out. I like it. P Blackster for 2 says, Boogie, you the man. Coach J, you the man.
Oh,
GBO.
well, thank you. Thank
Well,
you,
thank you,
sir.
P Blackster.
You are the
Appreciate that,
man.
brother. Look at that. Look at that Nico in his profile picture. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. All right, let's see what Coach Heupel had to say as we head into Vanderbilt.
Any more emphasis when you go against a mobile quarterback like this, because that's such a huge part of his game and their offense?
Yeah, you can't just let him sit back there. But when you're applying pressure, you got to do a great job of having lane integrity and not letting him get out the backside of the pocket. And that happened to us a couple times the other night. Within your twist games, you got to continue to keep your lane integrity as well, and that happens off of your pressures too. Your pressures got to maintain that. So it's a dynamic player with his feet at the quarterback spot. It's you can't just let him sit back in the pocket all day long. So you got to apply pressure, but while you're doing that, you got to be able to come off and make plays. So that's the balance that you got to be on the right side of on game day.
Why in the world does it sound like Heupel's underwater?
I know, a little bit. Guys, and what he's talking about there, if you guys don't watch the film breakdown series when we do it, we talk about for D linemen getting butt deep. And what that means, what he's talking about when you're blitzing a quarterback that's running an option, if you just blast through, I know a lot of you've seen it this year where you get frustrated, where it's like we blast through and we get so deep behind the offensive line that we overshoot the quarterback and they're able to slide under it. Well, you talk about when you're blitzing, as soon as you get as deep as the butt right past the offensive lineman, you need to sit down with your hips and then step to the quarterback at a 45-degree angle. If you keep coming up field, when you try to step down, the quarterback's just going to step underneath you and you're going to get washed up feet or downfield, not upfield. But so that's what he's talking about there when you're having good. And it's counterintuitive because the offensive lineman shuffling back, and you're getting, trying to get past him. And as soon as you do, it's hard to sit down 45-degree angle into the quarterback. But that's what we talk about when a D lineman needs to get a good blitz, but they need to be disciplined. They need to make sure they get butt deep, squat down, and get to the quarterback.
Happens to me every Tuesday night.
Yep.
Happens to me every Tuesday night. Noah James for 5 says Nico is my favorite Vols quarterback, already a legend. In my opinion, 8. Shout out, Noah. Appreciate the super chat. Nico's going to be special, man. Nico's going to be special. I think this is what I said on Locked On Vols this morning. I think part of the problem is everybody knows about the $8 million. He was a 5-star quarterback. He was the number 1 player in the country, and we hyped him up all offseason. Everybody did. It ain't like it's not like we were on here for some hot take that Nico is going to be this legendary player. Everybody thought that. And guess what? He still can be. I mean, the fact that they beat Alabama, they beat Florida. I mean, that's a good starting point. Now you're about to go play Vanderbilt for a shot at the college football playoff. That was the goal for 2024. 10-2. Now, obviously, the team has SEC championship admirations, national championship admirations. There is no doubt in my mind that was their goal for this year, is to win an SEC championship and a national championship. As fans, I thought it was a realistic expectation to say 10-2 and a shot at the college football playoff. Now here we sit, just go beat Vanderbilt.
And agreed. Like if he were a 3-star, we'd probably be talking about, oh, he set this record, he did that, he did this.
We would be talking about him the way people talk about Diego Pavia. That's what we would be doing. But now they're crowning him the next coming when he's thrown for 2,000 yards. Cool. What's Nico thrown for? I don't have the numbers in front of me. I had him in front of me, and then I lost him.
I think it's like 19.
Oh, here it is. Yeah. No, he's thrown for more. Diego Pavia, 156 for 260, 2,029 yards. Nico, 181 of 277 for 2,255 yards. Pavia has 1 more touchdown and 1 less interception.
Yeah, that's good for the most yards for a Vols freshman quarterback, by the way. those of you, I know I did look up that stat the other day. But yeah, no, I think so. I think he'll keep growing too. I think a lot of people want to a lot of people are like, yeah, Nico, give him some time. He's a freshman. But then there are some who are like, nah, he's JG now, or he's Joe Milton now. Whereas, I'm kind of on that side where kids are going to develop, and it shouldn't be understated how important this game is for another reason. Nico, it will be huge for him to have that playoff experience, even if it's a playoff home game, especially if it's a road game, that neutral site game. These are big, big games. And when you have big games like that, Alabama this year, or shoot, even Georgia that he played in. These are things that you can draw on as a football player. This is something I've been here, and all of a sudden I'm more comfortable in that situation. The nerves are a little less antsy. It's not the first time I've turned the corner to the OK Corral to get in a gunfight. I can be a little calmer, right? Wyatt Earp turns the corner, he's a little nervous, right? Doc Holliday's kind of calm and winking at everybody because he's been there before. So, yeah, I think it's going to be huge.
Josh, your players know what's at stake if you win this game. Is it a difficult task for a coach to address the playoff part of it without dwelling on it too much, or do you ignore it? Is that a difficult task for a coach?
No, I addressed it today. But I said it last week. There's a lot of football to be played. That's for everybody across the country. It's for us. And, focus on the task at hand, and we have to be our best on Saturday. You can look at how they've performed throughout the course of the season, how they've played at home, statistically, what they're doing in all three phases. You got to understand you're going to get their best, and their best is really good, and we got to be at our best too.
I think Volquest said that when he went into the locker room, what he's talking about there is he basically said, we're in the playoffs. Playoffs start Saturday against Vanderbilt. That's it. The playoffs are now. We're in the playoff. You got a first-round game against Vanderbilt on the road. So just go take care of business, man. Go take care of business.
And it shouldn't be hard to get your team up for this. They know what time it is. I can guarantee you practice, quick has been the step and sharp has been the word all week at practice. It's just how it gets when you get into that playoff time. So these kids know what time it is. They know what they're playing for, and they know what's at stake.
I mean, look how they started against UTEP, right? They started flat, and then they put it together for three quarters. And if you can't understand that, like if you can't look and say, well, why didn't this group of 18 to 22-year-old kids, why did they show up sleepwalking through the first quarter? Well, because they knew who they were playing. They knew who their opponent was, and that's why it's realistic. I understand that. Arkansas, that one's caught me by surprise. Mainly because you were coming off the bye week. I didn't expect that. But if you don't think that this team is going to be geared up and ready to go, they know what is on the line. Now, does that mean they're going to come out and start fast and play perfect and play clean for 60 minutes? I don't know. We'll see on Saturday. But this team, they know, man. They know what is at stake. Todd Landers for 2 says, just shared here some Black Friday money. GBO. Thank you, Todd. We appreciate the share and the super chat, my friend. 308 people watching live. I offer free stuff. I try to be giving. I try to show you guys that I am thankful. And 8 people left. They're coming back, though. We're to 310. Todd sharing it out brought in 3 more people. We are close. Keep sharing. Put on more steam. Let's get to 400. Or not. I mean, we don't have to. I'll keep the shirt.
I know the focus is on Saturday, but bigger picture, next week is signing day. How has the emergence of the portal?
Well, hold on a second. Did they just say, I know Saturday, it's like National Signing Day is not more important than Vanderbilt on Saturday. What are you talking about? What are you? That's the bad thing about the David Sanders situation. That's the last thing Josh Heupel needs to be thinking about when you got Vanderbilt. And why in the world is the early signing day period in the middle of the freaking season? Like,
it's stupid. Heupel's like, what the hell is she talking about? What'd you say? What'd you just say to me?
Maybe impacted or changed how you go about recruiting high school players?
Recruiting is 365 days out of the year. There's no days off. The landscape of the portal, it's been here for I don't know how many years, but probably my entire tenure here. It's a part of how you supplement your roster, and So you manage it. We build from, high school and supplement our roster with the portal.
That's how it should be.
I think some people took my statements about the portal wrong earlier when I said I was excited about Tennessee spending some money in the portal. Everybody was like, you got a high school recruit. You got a high school recruit. You got a high school. I know that. But guess what? Josh Heupel has done that in the 4 years that he's been here. And so now you've got a good foundation. You've got quality players across the board. Now you can go in and you can pick and choose, right? It's not a mass overhaul where you got a long
It's not Old
snapper.
Miss.
Yeah. Like you can pick and choose and make sure it's the right culture fit. But if it is the right fit and it is a big time prospect, that they've got the money to spend. I think Tennessee is in a beautiful spot going into 2025 after I read that article. I'm not saying, look, it's huge that this entire offensive line came back, but the fact that Lance Hurd is a young player that will be back. If Carrick gets that extra year of eligibility, if that waiver goes through, that's huge. And now you can go, is William Satterwhite ready? Is Sham Umarov ready? Is Larry Johnson ready? Or do we go into the portal and get a guard or a center or a tackle? Is David Sanders ready as a true freshman? Tennessee's in a good spot.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Sham was ready this year. I think we were getting ready to see him a lot of playing time, and then he got, kind of caught a really bad injury, which was unfortunate for him. But he's gotten back into playing shape pretty quickly. Little late to really maximize his season, but I think Sham's going to be good next year. We can get one or two of these kids to develop. I feel like arguing against LRB's development is arguing from absence, basically, from what we haven't seen, because this offensive line's always been so seniored out. We really haven't had to see those young kids that he has been developing behind the scenes. So, what does a Bennett Warren look like next year? What does a Jesse Perry look like next year? What does Jeremiah's Hurd? God, that guy's a mountain, man. What does he look like? What do his feet look like? A kid who used to play basketball. He's a great example to me because he's a kid who didn't play a lot of football. And then his high school had him on the defensive line. Is someone 6'8", but he's got really good feet. How quickly can Ellerby, kind of point those skilled basketball feet in the direction of an offensive lineman? Because I'll tell you what, if he can get something like that done, he might have a special piece in someone like that. Bennett Warren, huge person. Gage Ginther. I know me and Kyle Kerbison and everyone who pretty much watched him was yelling that he could be someone that's developed. So what does that development look like? I think the transfer portal will tell us a lot, Boogie, right? Like, who are they picking up? What position are they not picking up? Are they like, crap, we need 2 centers, crap, we need 4 guards, or crap, do we need 4 tackles? Are going to tell you a little bit about what they think about that development. But I'll tell you what I really love. I love that our defensive line is what it is. Because guess what? Our coaches are going to have a pretty darn good idea of what they need based on what are the looks that our defensive linemen are able to give them, because every week in and week out, they're going against best defense linemen in the country.
It's like the debate about Joey Halzle, offensive coordinator. It's always easy to go after a coach. We need to fire Joey Halzle because the offense isn't working, the offense isn't clicking, whatever. We're always, as fans, we're always looking for someone to blame. But it's a pretty easy win in the Ellerby argument for what you just said. Like the argument is, well, none of the young guys he's recruited have worked their way into the rotation. Yeah, because everybody on that offensive line is a veteran. And then you got a 5-star in Lance Hurd that locked down that left tackle position. Like, what do you want? You want William Satterwhite to put Cooper Mays on the bench? Like, Andres Carrick played good. Like, Andres Carrick has been good.
Yeah, and then you've had, 5-year, kids is the swing man who can play position 1 through 5, is the backup. You think
and you
of
got
Mays
Lampley
backup
too.
last year.
Lampley too.
And you got Lampley too. So you have all this SEC experience, and defensive lines are a mug in this Southeastern Conference. So you want guys with time under them. You want them who are a little bit longer in the beard, right? Because you got to be a man to block these defensive linemen in this league. And I don't want to start a freshman there. I don't even want to have to start David Sanders there. Do I hope he's talented enough and can do it? Yeah, I think he can do it. I think he's talented enough. I think he's got all the tools. I think he's born into an NFL body, and that's amazing. And I hope he's so good that you can't keep him off the field. But I also wouldn't mind watching him get a little longer in the beard before he gets out there, because I think it's so valuable for defensive linemen. I think Ross is a good example for Tennessee. I think if this was Jeremy Pruitt or Butch Jones or something and he had to be forced into action, he could have handled it. But I don't want him to have to handle it.
Right. That's what building depth is all about. You have time to develop these kids and get them ready for the college game. Game No Bueno saying, I'm coping. Why? How is it coping that I come back with a counter argument that you can't beat? So then now I'm coping. Like, if you can beat the argument, then I would love to hear it. I would love to hear the argument. It's not coping just because you lost Glenn Ellerby.
The O-line thing? Oh,
yeah.
Okay, Ellerby.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I'm not coping. I'm delivering the knockout blow in the argument. Blackout Jones for 5. What's good, fam? Getting ready for WrestleCade weekend. UT by 3 touchdowns. LFG GBO. WrestleCade. I didn't even know that was this weekend. Big event over in North Carolina.
Oh, it's not like a wrestling arcade.
It's like a convention, like a comic book convention kind of. I guess.
And I used to love that 4-player wrestling game where you could play either like SummerSlam or
was it WrestleFest? Is that what it was called?
Back in the day, back in our day when we were I don't know when that game was
WrestleFest. It was WrestleFest.
Okay, yeah, and you could play SummerSlam or a couple different events, I think.
Dude, that game, Ted DiBiase was on that game. They make versions of that game now in the the arcade one-ups.
Hulk Hogan, they were all in that game. Big Boss, man. All the stuff.
Now you have to be smart and know how to hack your arcade one-up to get it. They make a generic one that's not. It doesn't have the old school guys on it. Dang it, man. That would be a nice touch to the office. D-Dog 217 becomes a member of the channel. Appreciate that. If you're not a member, hit the join button. If you're not a member, what are you doing with your life? If you don't have a Power T beside your name, we have Georgia fans in the chat that are members of this channel. We appreciate their support. If you want to fix that, hit the join button. There is a link pinned to the top of the chat. There's also a link in the description. It's $1. It is $1 a month. Keep those memberships up to date throughout the off season to keep this channel moving forward. We appreciate you, D-Dog. Briston Hatfield for 5. Will they beef up Nico over the offseason and have him more running capability next year? What is Nico? 215 right now. Came in at what? 185?
Yeah, I don't know if anyone caught it during the UTEP game, but the announcer kind of said what I had said the other day. Like when you watch him like in the Vol Walk, he seems skinny. You know, when you actually are like shaking his hand and right with him, and you know what I mean, like he's just gotten out of his pads or something, compressing his shirt on. He's stouter than you might think and more wiry than you might think. Is opposed to just skinny. Will they try to put a little weight on him? I think they'll try to put a couple pounds of good muscle on him, but they're not going to try to balloon him up extra. He's gotten hit a lot this season. I think we've all been worried about, his hip at moments. I think we've been worried about his shoulder at moments. I think we've been worried about his concussion at moments. So he's taken a lot of hits already. But if you see, he was lowering his head to deliver a hit as early as the last game. Do I want to see Nico run a lot more and think it was missing from the offense this year? Yeah, I do. I do want to see more of that next year. So, if 5 pounds of muscle is what it takes to get that done, then I'm not opposed to it. But I don't think you want to balloon him up too much either. I think the wiriness is part of what gives him his arm and his flow, that elasticity and elusiveness within the pocket.
I wonder if they run him more, if they have confidence in Jake Merklinger's development over the offseason. I wonder how much
that's another part of it, I think.
Yeah.
That's another part of it too. I know everyone loves gas pipe, and I have a lot of belief in gas pipe, but I wouldn't want to have rolled out with him for a full year. Not at all. I just don't think it would have been advantageous for the team. I think we would have been good, but I think we would have dropped one more that we shouldn't have.
Wesley Mills Smith has been a member for a month. We appreciate that. Says rest in peace, Coach Battle. GBO passed away.
Yeah.
Was it the day before Thanksgiving? I think it was. I think is when Coach Bill Battle passed away. Yeah. Rest in peace to the coach. Aaron. We got to fix this. This right here is a Georgia fan, and he just walked in to the Talkin Balls Network and said, I'm taking over the top super chat of the stream. Top super chat of the stream is going to a Georgia fan, but we'll still play the clip for him.
Rocky Top!
Where's Brad at when you need him?
Yeah, I was about to say, I feel like he's directly insulting Brad.
And Brad's not here. Like, this is the only time I've ever wanted Brad to be on the stream.
Yeah,
and
he
he's
just
not.
walked in and slapped Brad across the face, and Brad's nowhere to be seen.
And Brad's nowhere.
Also, while we're on Coach Battle, shout out.
Hold on, I got to read the super chat.
All right, fine. Sorry.
I guess. I mean, he did pay $20.
Go.
Hey,
read
we
it.
don't have to read it. He's a Georgia
read
fan.
it. No, read it.
Okay.
Read it.
Just because Boogie made my son's night, still waiting on that T-shirt. Boogie, thankful for the Talkin Balls and the solid community. Much love from a dog. Coach Jay is all right too. Lol. Hey man, maybe maybe Aaron could win that shirt, but we need 96 more people in here. The chat went backwards when I started talking about giving away free stuff. But shout out to Aaron for the super chat. I guess we appreciate it. Too bad Brad is not here to knock him off the leaderboard. But I guess we'll let a dog take it for now. Go ahead, talking about Coach Bill Battle.
Yeah, but, absolute legend. Sad to lose any one of those. Those legends are getting more scarce and scarce around the Tennessee program. So sad to see Coach Battle go. I know he affected a lot of lives, and always a shame when you lose someone like that. Shout out to Bob yesterday, sending me a message. Bob lost his high school coach. And I could tell it, it affected Bob, which I told him yesterday, made me feel good, man. Makes me feel good that after all those years, it still meant something to him and still affected him. So shout out to your old head coach, Bob, and may he rest in peace. And I'm sorry he's not there to, visit you in your cell and all that kind of stuff as well. Sorry, Bob. I had to laugh a little bit.
That's not where I thought you were going. You went so heartfelt, sentimental, and then you went for the jugular.
I know. I felt like I was getting sad with all the Bill Bottle saddle talk, and I was like, I've got to make a joke, but then it was poorly executed. Okay, I feel bad now, Bob. I'm sorry. Oh
man, it was worth it. It was
now
worth
I feel bad.
Oh man, dude, what the heck just happened? That's hilarious. Dude, but anybody that played any sport throughout your life, you can think back to a handful of coaches that made that impact. I never thought I would say these words, but thankfully, Brad is here to claim the leaderboard back for the Big Orange. We'll play the clip.
Rocky Top!
You know what? I think I should probably play another clip too. I don't believe there are good people that pull for Georgia. I think they're all terrible, ugly, disgusting human beings. I think it's just that no, there are no good Georgia fans, Eric. There are none. Thankfully, the Big Orange back on top. Brad for 20 says, GBO, I'm always around. Happy Turkey Day. Had lots of great time with family. We appreciate you, Brad. I'm glad you were here to stick it to the Georgia Bulldogs. All right, let's jump back into it. Man, we've been talking for 30 minutes and Coach Heupel's talked for 2. I love it, man. That's what I love. That's what makes these morning shows fun is it gives us a topic and then we get derailed and then the chat gets involved and then man, I love these morning streams, man. I love it.
We don't got anywhere to be, Boogie.
Nowhere to go. The only thing I have to do today is upload the game day breakdown here in a little bit, eat a leftover turkey sandwich, and then go watch my daughter cheer the most boring sport on the planet, which is basketball. So
Georgia had success throwing to their tight ends a couple of games ago. Vandy has one of the better tight ends. What do you guys need to do to be better in that area?
Yeah, better know where he's at and within the scope of what you're playing structure-wise, defensively, you got to have your eyes in the right spot. If you're not, play action pass is going to give you a problem and he's going to find an opening. So it comes down to the ordinary things. The bigger the game, the better the opponent. It's alignment, assignment, execution. Your eyes got to have discipline. That takes you to the plays that you got to make.
You mentioned Vanderbilt playing well at home. When you look
in the video to come later.
Yeah, but see, now Coach Heupel said it, so it just sounds like you ripped him off.
Oh, man. All right.
The Georgia Bulldog, Aaron, gifted a Talkin Balls membership. Man, he's showing y'all up. You showing me up, Henry? Thank you, Aaron. Appreciate that support, my friend.
I saw a little orange in his family photo there.
We had this conversation. Was it Wednesday night?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure his sons are Tennessee fans, and they just lie to their dad.
Yeah.
That's what I'm taking it. He claims they're Bulldog fans. I don't believe it. Not for 1 second. Look at him.
Nope. They Big Orange.
That's child abuse to make them wear Georgia stuff.
Look at this league in general. It's been hard on the road. It's been hard for road teams. But why do you think that is? Is it different this year? Or is it more difficult than it's been in the past?
First of all, like the league across the board, the depth of it, like it's really good. And you go on the road, loud environments makes it a little bit more difficult if you're not like communicating at a really high level. So those two things together make it difficult. It's always been difficult on the road.
I know what your score prediction is. We've already recorded it. Coming up later today, that video will be posted. Are you worried about Vanderbilt? Are you scared of Vanderbilt? Like everybody has said, not your mom and dad's Vanderbilt. And, we talked about this Wednesday. We talked about it. I think we talked about it on the game day breakdown. And it's like the thing that sticks out to me is how gritty they are. Their losses have still been close games. They played Missouri close. They played Texas close. They beat Auburn on the road. They played LSU close. Obviously, they beat Alabama. Statistically, they don't look that good. They want to milk the clock. They want to chew you up. They want to put together long drives and try to stay in the fight. And they've done a good job doing that. Look around the country, right? Everything we talked about at the top of the show, everything we talked about after last weekend, teams going on the road as favorites and getting beat. Ole Miss, Alabama. I know this isn't a real road game. It's Neyland West. They'll have 12 fans in the stands, and then it'll be full of orange and white. But it's a crazy year of college football. Does this game concern you? Because I'm insulting Vanderbilt all week. In the back of my mind, I'm going, it's the most Tennessee thing ever to lose David Sanders at the final hour and lose to Vanderbilt, finish 9-3 on the outside looking in.
Yeah, I think Tennessee scares me more than Vanderbilt scares me. Like our ability, like the Arkansas game scares me. How we played in that game, how we've played patchy in moments has scared me. But I think the team will come out focused, so I'm not that worried about it. I think when teams have come out and been really focused on Vanderbilt, they've handled them just fine. When teams have kind of caught them in between games and they've been in trap game type scenarios or have a quarterback who just came back from an injury, they've been really competitive in those games. But for the most part, when teams have been kind of focused and pointed it in the right direction, I think they've handled them just fine.
Aaron for another 5 says, my wife is an Ohio State fan. My boys are dogs, and I'm just trying to keep the SEC love in the next generation. LOL. Goodness gracious.
Okay.
Kids that are Georgia fans and a wife that's an Ohio State fan. I'd look for a divorce and see if she wants to keep the custody of the kids. Like send the kids with her and just move out. And then I'm trying to give Richard Patton in the chat, trying to give him advice. He's raising a Georgia Bulldog. He asked me, what should I do, Boogie? I would kick your son out of the house. Like, let him learn. Let him grow up. Let him see what it's like on the street to be a Georgia Bulldog. Or better yet, he'll find his way to prison and he'll know what it's like to be a Georgia Bulldog. So you got to raise these kids right, my man. You got to raise these kids right. Why are we this way? Why are we this way? I love y'all.
We're made this way.
Yep.
Coach, with Thanksgiving this week, just what are you thankful for?
Thanksgiving is this week.
Thankful for our football family, who I get a chance to be with every single day, players and staff. Thankful for my own family, the health that they have, and thankful that I get a chance to be here and be a part of leading this program, and the opportunities that we have as an entire program.
I'm not going to ask you what you're thankful for. Kaner did that to me this morning. I'm like,
big
really?
Impact right off the bat. But how have you seen Ricky Gibson grow from last year to this year?
Man, just continued growth, maturity, who he is, how he prepares within what we're doing, fundamentally continuing to grow. And through that, his confidence has grown, and a huge part of why he's playing the way that he is.
How good is this secondary next year? Ricky Gibson, Jermod McCoy, Boo Carter. You think Jacoby Thomas takes over?
Yeah, I do. I do. I think it's going to be really luxury to have Jordan Thomas back as well, because I think he's an absolute dude too. I think this secondary is going to be much better next year. Boo will have another year under his belt. You'll be able to spell him at times when you need to. You might even be able to slide Jordan Thomas around a little bit, to play that safety with Jacoby. when he's out. So you might have a bit of a utility guy. And I think the linebackers are going to be improved. But yeah, the corners next year, Gibson, McCoy, man, they're going to have a full year under their belt. They're tough to deal with, man. Those are two really, really good defensive corners. Really excited about that.
Yeah, I mean, this defense, as good as it is this year, I think has the opportunity to be even better. And I know that's crazy because you're losing James Pierce, Omari Thomas, Eason, Simmons, Omar Norman Lott. Like, those are some dudes, which is why I think you are going to have to go to the portal and look for some interior depth. And you got some guys there, man. Got David Hobbs, man, Jackson Moy. I think they're going to be you talk about the depth. That's why they're not getting on the field, is because you're so deep there. But I think they'll still need to add some guys in the portal.
They played Moy, and they've been playing Moy and you just said his name. Why did it blank out of my head?
David Hobbs.
David Hobbs. Yeah, I wanted to say Jeremiah's hurt again, but yeah, David Hobbs have played increasing, snaps, and they've looked good doing it, man. So I'm really excited about both those kids, and the edge position is going to continue to be dangerous and stingy. I think you're going to see a lot more of Mr. Ross next year. Herring, Josephs as well. We're going to be just fine there. You bring Wes back on the weak side. I like where we're at that position.
Look at the young guys, man. Jordan Ross, freshman. Caleb Herring, sophomore. David Hobbs, sophomore. Jason Jenkins, sophomore. It's like
Jenkins too.
Dude,
I forgot all about Jenkins. And you know who else is behind Wes next year? So who's going to be spelling Wes? Is that going to be Tyrese Weathersby?
Or Jason Jenkins? I don't know where where Jenkins is going to end up. I don't know if he ends up at defensive end or interior, because he comes in. His opportunities are unique when he comes into the game, because sometimes he's inside, sometimes he's outside. But Tyree Weathersby, is another guy, redshirt freshman.
And he's another guy who can kind of slide inside too when you need him to. So good spot for the Vols to be in. I agree with you. I think they need to add. I wouldn't mind adding at least one defensive tackle, but two would be ideal. I thought it's a really good defensive line class coming in, but those kids are going to need a year to develop, your Ethan Utleys and whatnot.
I'm excited to see linebacker, because I think Edwin Spillman
getting
hurt kept him off the field. Does he push Jeremiah Thielander? And your starting linebackers next year are Edwin Spillman and Arian Carter. Those are some dudes. Yeah,
some dudes for sure. Back to the safety position really quick too. I know Edris Farouk has been on the field a lot this year, so he's another one to keep an eye out on. I picked on him a little bit.
True freshman.
A kid I picked on a little bit, or not so much him, but maybe Tim Banks in general. I did not like. There was that 4th and goal that Georgia had, where they ran that kind of trick play where they put an offensive tackle out in space, and it was Edris Farouk that missed that assignment. Why is a freshman in that situation at all? I was not a fan of that, but you can't really pick on that kid in that position. That was a really tough read for a senior to make, so expecting him from a freshman's tough. But for the most part, I think Edris Farouk is going to be a great player, a kid who arrives with a lot of aggression, by the way.
Briston Hatfield with another $5 super chat. Appreciate you, brother. Says defense gets a shutout. Nico finds his rhythm, 35-10. Was that my prediction? That's pretty dang close now. I can't remember what my 31-17. 31-17 was my prediction. Appreciate the super chat. Let's get some more from Josh Eibel here.
When you watch back the film, the defense being able to pitch a shutout, what does that say about their focus and the confidence that gives you heading on to a road game?
Yeah, last Saturday, like every Saturday, has nothing to do with what happens this coming Saturday. But, I think the competitive makeup, the physicality that they played with, resetting from play to play, guys making plays, it's just continued growth in what we're doing. There's a lot of things that we can be better at as well as we watch the film today with them.
I got to pick on Michael, because poor Michael got roasted recently talking about Nico. Now he's switching over to defense. Are you talking about Tim Banks being the worst secondary coach in college football, or are you talking about Willie Martinez? Because Tim Banks coaches the safeties. So if you don't like Tim Banks and you don't like Nico, I'm just curious. Do you like anybody on this team that's about to make the college football playoff, or do they all suck? I'm really genuinely curious. Genuinely curious. It's like
Martinez,
man.
He says Martinez.
Okay. Martinez coaches the corner, so that would have nothing. But by the way, Martinez
corners
coaches
have been elite this year.
But is it because and this is up for debate because a lot of people don't. Is it the talent or is it the coaching for Martinez and his corners?
I mean, I think it can be both. Talent can get you a long way for sure. Even if you're a bad coach, it can make up for some of that. But by anyone's standards, McCoy and Ricky Gibson have been awesome this season. I think really maybe they've played a total of 5 bad quarters put together. So they've been great, and I think they've exceeded a lot of, not my expectations, but a lot of people's expectations.
It's just funny that when players play well, it's the players. When players play poor, it's the coaches. Every single. You don't know anything about that, though, do you? You don't ever know about getting blamed.
It's never the coaches. We're always innocent, and it's always on those players. As coaches, we have our stuff together all the time.
Some of you do. Some coaches are emotional. Love you, Coach Rice.
Fiery.
Coach, just over
passionate
2 or 3 months, where have you seen the biggest growth from Nico from opening weekend? Now,
Yeah, I said it before the season started.
You're muted,
dude. Don't put this on me. Don't get me started being muted. I can't. I'm better than this. I'm better than this. Martinez does not coach all the DBs, Michael. He coaches the corners. Tim Banks coaches the safeties.
Yes, correct.
I can't believe I just pulled a Coach Jay. And if you hadn't said anything, I would have talked for 10 minutes.
I should have just let it gone on.
I had no clue I was muted.
Young quarterback, every rep he gets, going to make him better. Positive result, not a positive result. And I think his ability to withstand, push back, continue to compete, however you want to phrase it, from play to play as a young quarterback, just really strong from him. And, continued growth and understanding of what we're doing, command and control, and being able to handle everything that's on his plate, which is a lot. Excited, for him to continue to grow throughout this year and this week.
What makes this rivalry game so special?
Yeah, unique thing here at Tennessee is you got a bunch of them, but this is a long-standing rivalry that we've had with them. And, it's Thanksgiving weekend, you're playing in a big game against one of your rivals. This is the opportunity that you want to have.
Josh, how would you evaluate just how your offensive line has played throughout the season as you go into this game?
Yeah, executed really well at times. There's some things within the scope of the run game, protectionally, that they got to be better at, but some of that's not them too. Quarterback controlling the protections, tight ends, running backs being a part of it. All in all, done a good job.
On that offensive line, you guys started Jackson Lampley at right guard instead of Javantes, and you played a fair amount in that game. What into that?
Yeah, just opportunity for Lamp on senior day to get a start. Sprague's has been awesome throughout the course of the year, and he's going to play a bunch of ball for us on Saturday.
I love that. And Volquest was talking about this with Brew McCoy. They moved him into the slot in order to set up a play for him to get in the end zone and score a touchdown on senior day. So I love hearing that they're letting Lampley start and get that run on senior day. Josh Heupel is aware that you're playing an inferior opponent. He took that opportunity. I love that they took the timeout late and put nothing but seniors in against UTEP. I thought that was a nice touch by Josh Heupel.
Yeah, absolutely. Those kids put in a lot of work. Not all of them are kids that were capable of earning a starting position, but man, they've bled for the team. They've sweat for the team. They've been there getting them ready. Giving them scout team looks, making sure this team's prepared and doing the grit, hard work. So it's always awesome whenever you can get that in late in the year.
That was the final question there on Josh Heupel's press conference. We're going to wrap the show up. We don't condone gambling around here, but if we did, this is who we would tell you to bet on. Coach, how'd you do last week?
I crushed last week, man.
Oh, yeah.
I absolutely killed. I think
Of course you did, because we didn't do the segment.
I know.
You have set the chat
I
up
know.
for failure.
I know. I should have posted it is what I should have done. But yeah, I had Tennessee parlayed to Ohio State. So that of course hit. I think I had South Carolina as well. I had Minnesota in the points. I won every game but Boise last week that I bet. I had Boise and they were supposed to win by like 22, and I think they won by 3 or something like that against Wyoming. So that one wasn't so great, but yeah. Yep. Looking at this really quick, I don't like anything showing on the board there. I don't know if you got it, but I like the Texas State and South Alabama game. There you go, right there. Give me South Alabama and the money line, and we're going to parlay that money line to Sam Houston on the money line, playing Liberty at Sam Houston. There you go. It's right below it. So we'll take that money line, both those money lines together in a parlay, pay you about 4.5 to 1. So I like the way that's set up there. I like the matchups for both those teams.
I'm with Nate. Half the time, I don't know what he's even talking about, dude. I just listen to him go.
There you go. So that's what I like there. Moving on. Give me the Gamecocks. Gamecocks have covered 6 weeks in a row. Whenever you get a team that's covering multiple weeks, I like to get on that horse and ride it till it gets back into the barn. I don't see that
I don't either.
game. There you go. It was versus Clemson. Tough spot. Look, Clemson. It's a big rivalry game. I think they get Clemson here. I think SEC talent is just better, even though Clemson has a lot of dudes. I think not having the transfer portal has hurt them when they're playing against better competition, not so much against lowly competition. Last time they stepped out and played anyone halfway decent was Louisville. Louisville boat raced them. So I think they've just been beating up on inferior teams. Give me South Carolina. I think the Gamecocks get this one done. So take South Carolina. After that, give me the Vols. Vols by 50, baby. I'll take that 11, 10.5 now, lowering. I know that a lot of the sharp money is on Vanderbilt. Every single one of their games almost has been close. But I'm kind of looking at that South Carolina game when they played them as a model for this one. I think it's going to go similar. I think the defensive line is really going to affect that option game for Vanderbilt. South Carolina had no problem getting that number against them. I think it's the same for Tennessee. I think maybe it's a little tighter than you want it to be at halftime, but I think the Vols pull away in this one in the second half. Moving on from there, I'll take Kansas over Baylor. Go ahead and give me the Jayhawks. Been playing some good ball over the last couple weeks. I think they'll continue to get it done. That ground game's been really, really good lately. I think they'll continue on. And then finally, give me the Trojans. Give me the Trojans in those 7.5 points at home versus Notre Dame. I think you'll get a bit of a scoring contest there. So go ahead and give me the came down to 6.5, 7.5 on my book, but I'll still take that 6.5. I think it's gonna be a 4-point game, 3-point game either way.
There you go. Friday morning without Coach Jay's gambling advice, but we don't condone gambling around here. What we do condone is becoming a member of the channel. Hit that join button. We need your support to keep this show driving forward. As we head into the off season, we're going to be doing film breakdowns, live recruiting shows, live commitment shows, all kinds of fun stuff. So stay dialed in, tuned in. But hey, we got plenty more football to talk about. We got Vanderbilt tomorrow. Then we are going to the college football playoff. Tennessee handles business tomorrow, and then we go into the college football playoff. Hopefully, man. Hopefully something happens. Something happens. Hopefully the football gods continue to show us love and we see Notre Dame slip up, or we see one of these teams in front of us slip up and Tennessee has the opportunity. Dude, I tell you what, it's going to be hard for anybody to come into Neyland Stadium and win in a college football playoff. That I think it would be the most electric environment ever in Neyland Stadium. I truly believe that. Like, because you think about the big time bowl games, the big time SEC championships, national championships, they're always at a neutral site. To have a post game or postseason college football playoff in Neyland Stadium, holy smokes, will that place be rocking. Plenty of football left coming your way. Make sure you smash the thumbs up on the way out the door. Got the game day breakdown. Coach Jay's prediction, keys to the game. Coach Rice is going to break down the offense for Vanderbilt. Coach Jay breaks down the defense. That's going to be uploaded shortly after lunchtime, so be looking for that. But that is going to do it for this one. We love you guys. We appreciate you guys. For Coach Jay, my name's Boogie Bentley. This is the Talkin VAWLS Network. Go Big Orange.
That we call